Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, and talking about calisthenics and cardio and why you need to add them into your training cycle. So, this program right here, Calisthenics and Cardio Workouts, is basically what it says, the title. It is calisthenics and cardio with a little bit of dumbbells in there, variety of cardio, running, swimming, biking. If you don't have access to some of those or you can't swim or run, you can, opt out for some non-impact cardio or even walking, right? So it depends on your level of fitness. You can make calisthenics and cardio work for you no matter what. In fact, there's a beginner section in here for folks that just need to get started again or get started, period. There's an intermediate section that is a good one, a good solid base for any military law enforcement style fitness test. And then there's an advanced version that is pretty darn hard. And that's pretty much what I would put through some folks in a calisthenics cycle that really needed to work on their spec ops level calisthenics and cardio. So that would mean very high repetition calisthenics, fast miles pace, fast swim pace in order to be a competitive candidate in whatever profession you are seeking. But when people ask this question, why don't you add weights in your calisthenics and cardio cycle? I simply say, well, it really depends. There is a cycle in my year. When you think about my whole year of seasonal tactical fitness periodization, every season has its element of fitness that we focus on. So the winter is strength training, there's lifting there. And we basically use calisthenics and cardio primarily as a warm up for calisthenics and as cardio as a cool down. So we're really focusing on building strength, putting on some mass, but we're maintaining our calisthenics and cardio. So if that's your goal to maintain your calisthenics and cardio, it's okay to add in some lifts. However, if you're trying to improve your calisthenics and cardio, sometimes a heavy lift cycle is not the answer. Because I have seen people doing some heavy lifting squats and deadlifts and trying to improve their mile pace at the same time. And here's the problem: you get good at neither. Neither your running's improving and your strength's improving. So shift them. Put them in a separate cycle. If you want to work on strength and power, speed and agility, boom, make that a winter block. Increase strength, but still crush the PST. If you want to make it more of a, crush the PST type stuff, but maintain some strength, you can do that with, like the spring training model. Spring training model and the increased strength and training model mixes weights with calisthenics, but in a unique way, in a block periodization model where you do 3 weeks of what you are trying to improve upon and you do 1 week of what you're trying to maintain. So, for instance, this spring, we did the spring training program right here where we were progressing our running, progressing our repetitions in high rep calisthenics 3 weeks at a time. And then we would take a 1 week deload of running, shift down our calisthenics a little bit, but add weight. And that was through a variety of things. That was through dumbbells, barbells, sandbags, weight vests, anything that made the calisthenics movements harder, we added. Plus, we shifted down on the running a little bit just to give some of the beginner runners a downshift week to where they can recover, kind of lick their wounds if they're starting to feel some knee tendonitis or some shin splints. And has been very helpful. We still have a few people that are beginner runners that are having issues, but for the most part, injuries kind of work themselves through and they've built a good foundation and progressively increased their running to a point where they are now in the low 30s, high 20s miles per week with their running, where back in February they were probably at 10. So that is a progression. that is about a 10 to 15% progression per week, building up to that. That's how you do it without getting hurt. And that's really what these programs are all about. The calisthenics and cardio cycle, another for instance, a reason why we do it is if you're a young athlete and say, like I have some 12-year-olds down the street that I just invited to my carport garage during the school year coming up, whenever they are uh, in their schools, sports programs, do some hockey as a rec league type stuff. But before that, they can come over, lift weights for 30 minutes or so. But we're going to start off with a calisthenics base. Um, Now, some kids are like in martial arts, been doing calisthenics since they were 6 years old. By the time they're 12 years old, they have a pretty good calisthenics base, so they can probably go into a little more weighted activities. And what I mean by that is not necessarily going heavy with barbells or even dumbbells. Moderate progressive training with weights can be a light weight vest, can be dumbbells, can be sandbags, uh, be a TRX, anything that makes calisthenics a little harder and a little more uh, harder resistance is kind of the goal for new athletes getting into this type of training outside of their sport. So I do it with a calisthenics cardio base. Then from there, once they've kind of shown that they are capable of these movements, then we start adding weight and eventually we'll start adding barbells, probably within the year, start introducing barbells. And then I'll keep it light, nothing over their body weight until they have perfect form on everything. So that's kind of the journey I use calisthenics and cardio with. Let's take it for another instance. Let's say you haven't done anything in a very long time. Maybe you were injured. Maybe you've just neglected your health and fitness for a decade. And now you got to lose 30 or 40 pounds. Calisthenics and cardio is a great way to go into building sound habits because what do you need with calisthenics and cardio? Nothing but time. So if you just set your watch, same time, every day, 20 minutes of walking mixed with upper body calisthenics one day, mixed with lower body calisthenics the next day. Next thing you know, in a matter of a few weeks, you've created a nice little habit of exercising, same time, different body parts, but you're burning calories every day. Next thing you know, you start seeing results at the end of the month. You've created a nice habit. Discipline starts to form, and you now start to working out even though you don't feel like it. That is progress. And you can make a lot of progress with calisthenics and cardio, primarily focusing on building habits. So when I get somebody who needs to create good habits to train, what I do is simply make an easy workout, even if it's too easy for them. The goal of an easy workout is to create a habit of time and effort this time on this day. It can vary on day to day depending on your schedule, but this time, this day, you're working out. You've made an appointment with yourself. You are going to get it done. And calisthenics and cardio allows you to do that with nothing. Even if you're not up for running or able to swim, you could just walk. Walk and do some squats and lunges every 5 minutes. Walk and do some push-ups every 5 minutes. There's more creative ideas in programs like this where I do have a beginner, I think it's a beginner 20-week pro or 20-day program. No, 30-day program. So even better. So it's a beginner 30-day chart. It's just one chart of beginner exercises. Jumping jacks, push-ups, crunches, plank poses. And then it goes into an intermediate cycle where you're really starting to push some numbers here. You're going to do a lot of repetitions of pull ups. Even if you can't do pull ups, you can do assisted pull ups. That's the beauty of calisthenics. There's always an easier version so you can get it done, whether that is a push up that goes into a knee push up or a wall push up, or it's a pull up that goes into an assisted pull up with your feet on the ground and holding on to a low bar doing pull ups, so about half your body weight. There are easier ways, and then there's the other side of the spectrum to make them harder. Add weight to it. So it is a very versatile um, way to train. So I love it. I grew up powerlifting and doing football, and anything over 100 yards was long distance. And I paid for it when I joined the military. Got crushed. Just wasn't able to hang with simple calisthenics and cardio workouts. Like a 2-mile run was soul crushing for me. So, over time, obviously, I got better and better, learned some new tricks and techniques of how to do these things and strategies to, pace myself smarter. Next thing I know, I'm crushing PT tests and able to go into the spec ops side of the world, and been creating workouts like that ever since. Um, but there's many other reasons why. In fact, I put an article in the description of this, and it's called "A Case for Calisthenics and Cardio." I wrote this in the spring because every spring we transition out of our weightlifting cycle into a calisthenics cycle, but we mix in some weights with it. Like I said, we did the block periodization model this time. Every fourth week, we're lifting weights to maintain some of the strength gains we had over the winter, but we're trying to basically get better at calisthenics and cardio. But there's many reasons why. You can do these outside. You can get some vitamin D, which is exceptionally healthy for you. You need that for everything: energy, pain in muscles and joints, sleep problems. All these things can be aided by getting some sun, or even a vitamin D supplement if you don't live in a sunny area. It's a good time to lean out, over the winter. Typically, people gain some weight over the winter. People start exercising in the spring because they are preparing themselves for summer clothing, maybe bathing suits. You're going to be wearing less clothes in the heat. So it's a good time to lean out. Springtime's a good time to start. But it doesn't have to be just calisthenics. If calisthenics too easy for you, put on a weight vest. Make them harder. Real easy. If you're going into the military, I personally recommend getting on a calisthenics and cardio cycle, being able to crush that fitness test. So any day you can crush that fitness test, and then after all of that is done and the testing is done and you're into your military or law enforcement unit, you can start lifting weights again, and it doesn't take very long. And I think you'll probably find some newfound joy in doing things a little different, things that you weren't necessarily good at before, like pull-ups and running obstacle courses and just running in general. You may find that you like it. I did. And I personally, I like to lift still, but I will put more effort into my running ability and my calisthenics ability and my swimming ability, mainly because it's just easier on my body. Sometimes the heavy lifts, you need a break from the heavy lifts. That's one reason why we lift in the winter, fall and winter cycle. We come around in the spring, do some calisthenics. But on the flip side, you need some rest from the high repetition in calisthenics that, we're about to peak this August, maybe early September. We're going to be peaking in our repetitions and mileage, and by September we are ready to get into the weight room, which is fun because we're not burned out year after year after year doing the same old focus, and getting good or maybe even really good at a certain element of fitness, but sucking at another one. So this system of seasonal tactical fitness periodization allows you to just be a well-rounded athlete slash exerciser, whatever you want to call it, that can actually do things. You can lift heavy stuff and run up a flight of stairs without getting winded. You can run a mile. You can swim a mile. You can do 20 pull-ups. All of those things are great accomplishments, just by themselves. But if you can be well rounded, deadlift twice your body weight, bench press your body weight multiple times, do 20 pull ups, run a mile in 6 minutes, swim 500 in 9 minutes or less. I mean, those are all very possible scores that even at 53 is capable of doing. So mix it up a little, have some fun. Don't just be in the same old, lifting cycle year after year after year, or running cycle, and you're not doing any resistance at all. If you're one of the endurance athletes that I see often that are trying to go into this world, I start you off with a calisthenics base. Give you a good 6 week cycle of getting into some calisthenics, working on your muscle stamina, and then obviously you're going to need to lift too because you need a little more strength, especially if you're coming from a swimming background only or a running only background where all you do is cardio. You need to put on some mass and have some strength too. So, depending on who you are, you're still going to use calisthenics and cardio. You just may use it a little bit differently. And it may be a warm up for you. It may be most of your workout. It may be intermixed with lifting, depending on your cycle. So many ways to enhance your training with something that has been around forever, and that is calisthenics and cardio. Many of these exercises are timeless exercises that I didn't invent. I may have created a few different choreographies of these exercises that make it fun, make it challenging, but there's nothing new. It's classic. Getting good at the basics is a great way to build a foundation. And then from there, it's really up to you on your goals and where you want to go. So, folks, I appreciate the time. If you guys have any questions, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Happy to answer them. I do a live show every Monday and Tuesday at 9 o'clock. You can find it on YouTube, on my Facebook pages. Um, it's broadcast to all those different social media platforms. And, um, one of them is basically discussing my workout creation for the week, and the other one, and taking Q&A, live questions. And then the other one is doing a live CSS critique show mixed with questions as well. So if you guys head over to stewsmithfitness.com, check it out. I got tons of articles over there, well over 600. It's a lot to sift through, but you can use the search feature if you're looking for something specific. Also have about 40 different books and programs that you can search through and find something that works for you. But if you're just trying to get started, or you're trying to crush a specific fitness test that's all calisthenics and cardio, there you go. Calisthenics cardio will answer that question for you. But I also have some specific training guides too for programs like FBI and DEA and SEALs and Rangers and Marines and Coast Guard, with a little more of specifics of their selection program as well as their fitness test too. So that's what I do. I work out and write about it. I focus on helping people get to the training by crushing a fitness test, and then through the training by preparing them for the challenges yet to come in their military journey or law enforcement journey. So there you go. If you guys want to check out some live CSS critiques, check out my TikTok page, StuSmith50. Got a ton of stuff over there. But also, I'll see you at stewsmithfitness.com, and you can save 20%. Use the COMPETE20 code down here at the bottom. COMPETE20, save 20% off any program. All right, folks, until next week, have a good one. Stu Smith out.